thanks for joining us on our product reveal night. We are taking questions out of the chat. So if you've got some cool questions about any of our new products, feel free to leave us that question down in the chat. We've got a bunch of people working hard behind the camera, so we make sure we get to all of your questions. We're going to be on air for about half an hour here, and we are going to have a lot of fun with everybody tonight. But this isn't just the Danny Show. We've got a big team here at AndyMark. Let's meet our Q&A personnel. You've already seen them in the video. Put your digital internet hands together. First and foremost, we've got the mayor of Mooseville down from the Great White North. Give it up for Mr. Nick, the Canadian Lawrence.
Hey, Danny, what's up?
All right, next to him, we have two-time heavyweight champion of the world, Mr. Kevin Kalodje.
What's up, Danny?
Nick. Hey, Kevin.
Now, the maniac of the build room, the master of chaos. The step drill is his best friend. Give it up for Nathan, the maniac Masuda.
Hey, Nathan.
Hey.
All right, and now the one who started it all, the one, the only, Andy Starman Baker.
Hey, Andy.
Hey, Andy.
Woo! All right, so why don't everybody, we didn't quite do this in the video, but why don't you guys give yourselves a brief introduction of what you do here at AndyMark?
Hey, everybody. I'm Nick. I'm a mechanical systems designer here at First. Get to work on a lot of robot parts. Also get to travel the country as an FTA.
I'm Kevin. I'm the mechanical engineering manager here at AndyMark, keeping these guys in line. It's a hard job.
Hi, I'm Nathan, mechanical engineer at AndyMark. Help design all these products with these two crazy guys.
Hi, I'm Andy. I'm the president, but I'm also a mechanical engineer, so I get to do a little bit of engineering once in a while if they let me.
All right, like these guys said, it is a big team effort here at AndyMark. We've got a bunch of people behind the camera helping us out. But now we have our first question of the night from Anthony3175, and he wanted to know, I believe this was back from when we were over in the machine shop, is that all peanut extrusion in the background?
No. That is actually raw material for making our FTC field perimeters.
All right, there we go. We're going to go ahead and get one of our next questions queued up. What hex key size is on the...
I assume that's
The orange
this thing.
thing?
Yep, so we've got 5/64 all the way to 5/32. So that's like a 440 to a 1032 socket head. And the other side is metric 1.5 to 5. So that's basically every metric you have to use on the robot.
Yeah.
All right.
It really is the best hex set
I
in the
think
world.
I think we all have these stashed in
Yeah,
our desk.
At least
maybe
two.
two. Yeah,
Yes,
two.
And we had like two. We bought them. We kept buying more, and we
Yeah.
figured let's just make it a product.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Nathan was cleaning out his desk, cleaning off his desk the other day, and noticed that he had like what 5 or 6 of them, and he just sort of stood there looking. Oh man, I've been doing a lot of work lately. I've got 6 or 7 of these. So
We're looking around. So that's where all of our hex sets went.
Those and shop glasses.
He stole them from the assembly shop over here.
all right, so we've got another question there. I want to buy the practice bot, the one that we've sort of been demoing throughout the whole video. About how much would something like that go for?
That guy sets the prices.
Make him a deal, Andy.
Mr.
Yeah.
Andy?
I don't know. That's a good question. I do believe
Here's the
that the frame and the pneumatic wheels are a nice little product. It's a walnut extrusion, chain and tube with the 2x1 extrusion. But I don't know if there's a lot of demand, we'll make it a product. I'm not going to say a price right now. It's premature. But I like the question. We are considering making a product drivetrain for debug or demonstration or just playing around.
It's really good for playing around. It zips pretty fast.
Yeah.
It took a while to get used to how to drive it. It changes direction ridiculously quick. It's a lot of fun.
I did almost flip it over.
I
More than
did
once.
a lot.
Yeah. Well, that control system too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nathan, you did a little bit of work on the control system that's on that robot. Can you speak a little bit to that? Because it goes by very quickly in the video.
Yeah, it's a little, we weren't trying to show it off too much, but it's 6 talons, a Hero controller, and some homemade power distribution all crammed into a plastic box about this big. So it's been really useful for testing
I think we
demo
should.
robots.
I'm gonna go grab it. We should
Yeah.
actually see it.
Now, we do have to, there's one quick caveat. Oh wait, no, you're just grabbing the box. Okay, never mind. We bring the practice bot out on screen here, but we did have to scavenge off one of the pneumatic wheels so that we could have a product picture. But yeah, so this is that box. And
So we've got a surface mount main breaker, 100 amps, not our usual 120. I don't know, a screwdriver, but there's 6 3x2 block of Talons in here, and the power distribution is over here with the breaker, and the hero is in the lid. And then you've got 6 motor controller outputs, so basically all the functions of a pretty simple robot.
If this is a kit you would buy, you should tell us. Because we were kind of sitting at it going, we're not sure people would buy it. So if it's something you want, you should let us know.
Control system in a box.
So yeah, so feel free to put down in the comments, put in the chat, hashtag control system in a box, and we'll start keeping a tally. If we get to a high enough number throughout the course of this video / month, we'll consider it. I think that goes with the definitely maybe. All right, so from King the First, does the red line have the same torque as the original red line?
According to the manufacturer's specs, it is ridiculously close and within the plus or minus tolerances you would find in production batches of DC motors.
So that question was about the torque specifically, but can you speak to the free speed and the power of the new Redline A?
So we really try to keep the torque as close as possible, and we targeted going after a little bit higher free speed, but really increasing the power of this new motor platform. It's up to 382 watts max power, which is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Not the most powerful motor we've ever had in FRC. We used to have a older Fisher-Price motor that nobody makes anymore, but this is dang close, nearing that 400 watt limit. We really targeted the free speed here. It's about 21,000 RPM or so, so a little bit more speed and a little bit more wattage.
And we were working off of some manufacturers' sort of theoretical data, but actually just today, we got in some of their motor test reports, and that was live data from actual motors, real tests, not theoretical information. Do I have that right?
Yep. And at the end of this broadcast, the curves for this motor will be available immediately. We're not going to sit on it and wait. You'll be able to take a look at those as well as some of the other specs available on the product website as soon as the website goes live.
Which is when?
All right, that leads us perfectly into our next question. When will the products go live?
Well, they should be going live any second now, probably by 6 p.m. at the latest. Our web team is working hard and making sure that every page is accurate so that all of the information is true and we're not selling ourselves short or too long.
So that brings us in, we thank everybody for all the help with the new website. We hope you guys are liking it. As we kind of get things going with today's launch, we're still finding bugs with the website, so have a little bit of patience with us, and we're excited to make this a better and better experience. And we've already noticed a jump so far in how we use the website, so we're really excited about the new website. All right, so we have another question here from the chat. Oh! So if you heard that was from Jerry, our director of IT and engineering, and he just let us know that all the products are live up on the AndyMark website. So feel free to go take a look at those. But keep it right here as we continue to answer questions for a bit longer, especially you. All right, so we have another question here. Are there more products that will be released closer to kickoff?
Andy?
Kevin, Andy, Kevin?
I think at the end of this episode, we're going to have another product release. I think we're teasing that.
We're not quite done.
So we're not done yet. So we have a new product we're really excited about that we're going to talk about later in this episode. And
next week we're also going to have a very detailed episode on this same Twitch channel, the AndyMark Gaming Twitch channel, at I think about 5 or 6 p.m. or so next Thursday, December 13th. We're going to talk about some of the design details behind that specific product.
Yeah, the one that we haven't talked about yet. Yeah. A whole show about it next week.
It's pretty exciting.
So yes, that was.
Will one of those be a swerve and steer, Nathan?
Nothing yet. Stay tuned.
All right. We keep getting a lot of talk back and forth with a lot of the customers about the swerve and steer, and we're always trying to work on that one. And that one is, as Andy put it earlier, one of those that's always been up for a lot of continuous improvement. Yeah. But we're still excited about that one. All right, so we're going to go to another question here. Is chain and tube
referencing that 17.2 sprocket, I think.
Okay. Compatible with both major types
Can you scroll down a little bit on that question some more, please? We can
can't-
only see part of the question. A wonderful behind-the-scenes crew working hard for us.
How would you pronounce that username?
Zebedee?
I'm gonna go with Zebi database. That's what I'm gonna go.
Ah, okay.
Ah.
Gonna
Nope,
go
the other way.
other way.
Could you tell us the question, ladies?
Is chain and tube compatible with both major types of chain we use? And also a shout out to Team 6502.
All right, very cool.
Well, 6502, we're not sure what chain you use, but we know this works for 25 regular chain. It does not work inside of a 2x1 tube with the wider HD type of 25 chain. We've designed it for regular 25 chain in a 2x1 tube.
But also, I know a lot of FRC teams use 35 chain. Do we have a chain and tube solution for 35 chain?
Not yet. 35 chain is pretty big. It probably, for a double sprocket, will not fit in 2x1 tube, no matter how hard you try, unless maybe you grind the chain up into powder or so. But maybe in the future, we can make a 2x1.5 base number 35 chain in tube sprocket. Maybe one day.
Cool. Someday,
Yeah.
over the rainbow. Yeah.
Skies are blue. The grass is green.
All right. Do we have any other questions in the chat? So everybody out there, we're running a little thin on our questions, so feel free, keep putting your questions. If you guys have any questions about any of our older products, anything that we haven't talked about tonight, feel free to add some questions in about those. But I guess we'll go down the line. What is your product that we've launched tonight?
I'm gonna have to say the HD compliant wheels because that is one of the most direct responses we've ever had to our customers. Our customers told us that our 2-inch molded compliant wheels weren't as durable as they'd like, so we made some super strong ones, and now we're gonna see how you can find a way to break those.
I'm really excited about the hex extrusion. I think that's really versatile, and I've fumbled with lots and lots and lots of spacers before, so this would save the teams I work with a lot of time, and I look forward to what creative uses teams are going to come up with for that too. Maybe not just a spacer.
So I'm torn between the BameBot's 2-motor gearbox and the hex set. I really like that hex set.
It is the best hex set in the world, plain and simple.
I
mean, that was a given.
We've been using this. I think first teams in the know have been using these for years, but I still see teams that this is a surprise to them, and this one is going to be a really useful tool for many teams. It's available out in the market.
Right.
McMaster sells it, Fastenal sells it, Granger sells it, but it's not always very easy to get. So we can help them get this easily by placing an order at AndyMark.
All right, so we have another question coming in from the Overlord 6190, and that is, what ate the Omni wheels on the practice robot, or on the demo bot?
So I think they mean what are the Omni wheels?
What are the maybe?
Nathan, you worked a lot on those.
Yeah. So those have actually been out for a couple weeks now. We've tried to get them out for FTC. They're 2-inch Omni wheels from Rotocaster. So we got them in custom colors and durometers to match our product line. So they work really well with the 2 1/4 compliant wheels to bring game pieces to the center and then up into an intake.
Now you had a bit of fun working on that funnel. Can you tell us about what maybe is the backbone of that funnel action on this robot?
So there's actually 2 bent pieces of churro light that when the Omni wheels are bringing the balls in, they ride against the churro at an angle, bringing them toward the center. So it's just screw churro light in, bend, and we're done. So you can see there 14 millimeter hex bore, but we have inserts for 1/2 inch and 3/8. So really any shaft you.
Hey Nathan, can you go show the camera that a little bit closer up?
And there's different durometer rollers with what you know as different colored rollers.
All right. So yeah, so like we know, we really love our colors and making sure all the colors match up. But we've got another question here coming in from Bilfred Industries. Hi Bilfred, how's it going? Will the dual motor 57 Sport have the same guarantee you had on the 57 Sports last year?
No. And the reason why is because it is possible to build a 57 Sport that can put so much torque through the output shaft that well exceeds the yield ratings for that output shaft and output carrier assembly. Yes, it was beefed up to make up some of the ground, but you'll have to be careful once you go all the way up to like 100 to 1 with two 775 redline motors in there. Lots of power, lots of torque. But we're gonna stand behind the product as well. I mean, we'll still put it on any mechanism of our robots. We still kind of consider it bulletproof. You have an info card here.
When you get the gearbox, it comes with a card that tells you the ratings of all the different stages, and this is on the website also. But so you could theoretically build one of these that could output 300 foot-pounds. So none of the gearboxes will take that. Nothing will take that. But they are really, really strong planetary gearboxes.
But you can still use those. Like, there's still a market for the 100 to 1 or whatever.
If you don't stall the motor,
Right.
you won't get that
Right.
torque.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so we've got another question. I think this is going to be a question for everybody here. From Super Named. Where do you see first in 100 years? We'll start on that end, I guess.
In 100 years, I can't imagine what that is. I mean, singularity is supposed to happen in like 2025, right? That's when computers, maybe 2035. So computers are smarter than humans. But maybe 10 years, maybe I'm going to alter the question to 10 years. And I think by 10 years, there'll be more aspects of FIRST that doesn't include as much hardware. Maybe there's virtual challenges and such, a lot more software-driven items and computer science, along with the mechanical and electrical challenges that we have. So, yeah, who knows where FIRST is going to be in 100 years, but I mean, we'll be playing it, maybe we'll have a Mars division or something like that. I don't know. Good question.
Districts on Mars before districts on California.
Ooh. Throwing some shade there, Kevin. Sorry, California.
What did you say?
I said districts on Mars before districts in California. I hope not.
yes.
I hope not. I hope not.
Hopefully someday you'll get a taste of that sweet district life, California.
All right, so we've got another question here. How much under 1 1/8 is the second largest step on the step drill?
Yeah, so we've got 1 1/8 here and 7/8 here. I think that's your question. So these are the two most common bearing bore sizes you would find. But if you might be asking about the step directly under 1 1/8, it is very, very small. That might be a heavy press fit for a bearing. It looks like maybe a 16th or a 32nd smaller. So
That's pretty
I don't
heavy.
have any calipers on this.
You might get away with putting that into a super soft material like UHMW, but most things that we build press robots out of.
Or not drilling all the way through
Yeah.
maybe and just leaving a little lip there.
I'm 95% sure that's a 7/8.
Oh yeah, that one.
Well,
is.
the middle,
I'm talking
yeah.
about the
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, very next step. This particular step drill, unlike a lot of them, does not have indicated steps throughout its entire length. It really just has the 7/8 and the 1 1/8. The rest of the steps are just sort of to help get you there.
Yeah.
All right. So Cbale 2000 has a question. I got here late. Will the recording of the stream be available later? And I think we're going to go to our web team, and they're shaking their heads. Absolutely yes.
So the full stream will be available on Twitch, and we'll break it down into each segment to be posted later on YouTube, along with a hype video and maybe something else.
And maybe
Something
that
else?
other thing that we were talking
thing?
about. That thing.
The thing?
We're not talking about the thing yet.
Wait, can we talk about the thing?
I don't know.
Soon.
Soon. About 8 minutes. So we've got another question. On the shooter on the practice bot using the compliant wheels. Scroll down a little.
Read it to us, please.
It's a long
Will
question.
that cause abnormalities in the trajectory of the ball?
A little bit, but also the balls themselves are also really abnormal, so they kind of sort of balance each other out. For what we were building here, it didn't matter. We were mostly shooting into a Recycle Rush recycling container. For a squishier game piece, you probably will see really no significant problems with it.
Yeah.
But that would be a thing that teams are going to have to test out, experiment
Yeah.
with. That's one of the beautiful parts about how economical these, the new generation of compliant wheels are. You can try a bunch of different things. I think that's one of the things we're really excited about, including different durometers, different squishiness factors.
And plus, also, all of our Mecanum wheels share the same design language as our Stealth wheels, which have been on the market for a very number of years. So for the 2-inch and the 4-inch ones, you could swap those in and out if you find that you need something a little harder as well.
Absolutely. All right, so from Cbale 2000, any plans to make some 2-inch Mecanum wheels for intakes? There are very few COTS options available.
This is something that we have tried to do for a couple of years, and we have a few, like 90% of the way prototypes that are floating around the office, but we wanted to make sure that if we're going to go into that market, it's going to be a legitimate improvement over the very few options that exist out there. And to us, that's an increase in durability, better rolling on all of those rollers, and because it's such a also compatibility to have in tech shaft is
Not ridiculously expensive.
and not ridiculously expensive either. So
We could make all the things we wanted to if they were $100 a wheel, but then you wouldn't buy them.
right. So we're still working on that. It comes off the shelf every year. We dust it off, take a look at it, and see how close we can get. And we haven't been successful yet, but stay tuned.
We've got a couple B- level ideas. We
Yeah.
just haven't had that A sort of material. Yep. All right, so thank you guys for continuing to roll your questions in. Please keep them coming. We've got a few more here. If you could scroll the other way.
We see the bottom line.
See the bottom line only.
Are there plans for a 6-inch compliant wheel?
Oh, is that what it was?
Oh.
Is there plans for a 6-inch compliant wheel? Dreams, yes. Hopes, yes. Plans?
We've talked about not necessarily a compliant wheel, but more of like a drive wheel. That's one of Nathan's ideas that he's had. You were talking about using maybe the 4-inch high grip center core as that overmold, because that would be about the right level of plastic versus TPU.
Yeah.
It's definitely really only in Sketchland at this point.
In our
but-
dreams right now.
Yeah.
If you guys want it, scream for it.
hmm Like as far as you've just heard is about as far as we've gotten with it.
Oh, yep. Very fair.
Well,
We haven't put mouse to CAD yet. All right, so question from ESH3316. Any plans to offer a better shipping solution for international teams?
Okay, so this is a big problem for international teams, and we've been working on incremental improvements in international shipping over the years. We've set up distributors in non-US countries. We have, I think, 6 or 7 distributors set up now. We're looking for some more in other areas, but better distribution through distributors, maybe more options with different carriers. I know that our operations manager, Mark Stoltz, met with another shipping provider a couple days ago, trying to get better quotes than what we do with international, with FedEx. FedEx is great, we like FedEx, but they're not always the most cost effective going into some of the countries. So we hear you loud and clear. This is a serious issue with cost with regard to some of the teams, most of the teams in international locations. So if you have suggestions, ideas, feel free to send those to me personally, Andy@AndyMark.com.
Also sign him up for cat facts. He loves cats.
What? All right, so from Co-ops 37, are those boxes of fuel over there on top of the shelf that you still have from Steamworks? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we still have several thousand. I don't know if you know a better number.
We have about, and we were very reluctant of saying numbers about fuel, but we have about 70,000 left over from 2017. And I think we've actually started giving them away to local, like childcare and nursery schools and elementary schools, and we're probably going to have another run of that locally in January. You guys don't know about this yet. We'll have a team building day in January. We'll give them away then. So if any firsters want to come down and grab some free fuel, and maybe the Friday after Martin Luther King Day, that might happen. So we might just put them out in the snow, come by and grab them. They're kind of just in our way right now.
So you're finding a way to make fuel matter?
Sure. I've seen pictures of babies in like pack and plays with a whole like case of fuel with the baby, and they're just loving it. So we want to see more of that.
Why do you think that robot used fuel?
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead here to another question. Does Pixie 2 have all the same communications that Pixie 1 had?
Yeah, so the Pixie 2 is basically just an improved in every way. So everything that you're familiar with on the Pixie 1 is there on the Pixie 2, plus a whole lot of new features as well. And it's smaller, lighter, faster, cheaper. So yeah, it's kind of that perfect upgrade that you can
Very
think
cool,
of.
very cool. All right, have you broken any of the compliant wheels in testing? That one's going to Nathan.
Yes.
So I'm usually the one to break stuff, but we haven't done our maximum RPM testing with these yet. Hopefully we'll get that out to you within a week. But currently we have not managed to break any of them.
Or delaminate or really cause any significant damage.
Yeah, we've stretched everything short of like mechanical means to break it. A live test here.
One of you guys is gonna fall.
Yeah,
Break my
nothing.
fingers.
Yeah.
Nothing there.
So Nathan, you talked about delaminating. Can you talk about how the tread is bonded or secured down to the core?
So our molder first makes the inner core, which is also, as you mentioned, our 1-inch hex spacer. He just has buckets of these waiting for us to order the wheels because he knows we're going to buy them either way. And then I'll put the core in the mold machine and inject the hot plastic around it, and that will chemically bond to the polycarbonate. So it's really, really hard to get these off. I've managed to peel some green away with like vice grips on a stealth wheel, but the other colors, it's basically impossible.
And in a lot of cases, when you do get peeling, you actually don't get the very first surface interaction that peels away. You usually get like maybe a few thousandths of an inch away where the TPU itself actually tears and there's still a little bit of TPU left on the hub.
Yeah, so the bond is in some cases stronger than the material.
Yeah.
Same bonding here.
Well, these also have a mechanical
Yeah.
interface. There's a rib inside there that
We
keeps
weren't.
that
Su-
thread
we
on.
designed that because we weren't sure about the bond. This is when you design a mold the first time, you don't know how the bond's going to be. So there is a mushroom-shaped rib all along here, but I would contend that we don't even need that.
Yeah.
There's two questions.
Mary, the upper question or the lower question?
Upper.
Can you scroll up a little bit?
Working on it.
We're having a bit of a computer dilemma.
What about designated flywheel wheels similar to the popular Fairlane McMaster neoprene rollers?
Oh, good question. Thank you for ESH 3316. I don't know if any of you guys want to jump on that one.
We don't have a product that's that heavy. I would prefer a lighter compliant wheel, and you can always add a gear or a weight next to it to make it a flywheel that would be that would hold its inertia between shots on a flywheel.
The harder durometers are also pretty good for shooter wheels because, like you said, at really high RPMs, these will start to expand differently on the spoke versus the gap, and sometimes get unstable at really high RPMs. But the
Like 10,000 RPM
Yeah.
level of
And
crazy.
that's where we set the limit. You know, we have some data on the website that talks about RPM limits, and that's really where it comes from. It's not where they fly apart and explode. It's where they stop working nice.
they wobble. Yeah.
So the next question is about this motor. Do you want to read it?
Yeah, so the next question, are there any obvious visual differences between the red line and the red line A, so we don't get them mixed up?
The only difference is that A. That's it.
Well,
So they're-
not quite.
where
There
is
are
it?
two differences, Andy.
Really?
There is the AM3775A difference in the part number, but also the DF30F, which is the manufacturer's part number for the motor platform, is now a 2003 number, not 2002 like the Redline motor was. So
Oh, okay.
the manufacturer's part number is now DF30F-2003.
So
And
the only differences are in the
The
laser,
laser
etching.
etching.
Yeah.
And it's hard to see. We apologize for that. You gotta have young eyes to look at this thing. It's not the easiest thing to see, but it's there, and it's laser etched, so it's not going anywhere. But yeah, it's there.
All right, so we have our second to last question from Robot Nerd. Are there any changes to the polycarbonate core of the 4-inch intake wheels from those available last season?
Intake wheel.
All right, so is that the by intake wheel? Are we going
Assuming
with
the compliant wheels.
the
as well,
compliant
so
wheels?
The
Yeah.
ones that run 95% of FRC robots.
No.
No changes. Be interested to know what your failures were. The most common one that we hear about is a Loctite chemical attack, where you've, even in the vicinity of a polycarbonate object, have applied Loctite to a bolt, and it, like one little drop can eat that polycarbonate away. That's the most common one we have, but if you could maybe send us some pictures to support at AndyMark.com, we'd be happy to take a look and give you some advice on that.
We can't hear you.
All right, so we're gonna go with our, looks like our last question for the night.
Second.
Second to last, all right. how was your day? How's the AndyMark family doing? Miss you all guys from Charles and Evanston. Miss
Hey,
you,
Charles. Hey, how's it
Hey.
going?
Charles, good to see you.
Mr.
You
Charles.
did a pretty good job on those prints. I've been looking through them.
His brother did, actually.
Oh.
But
Well, both of them did.
Yeah,
Both of them
that's
were
true.
good. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
both of them have been
I've
very
seen
good.
both of them. I'm pretty, yeah.
No, like today being launch day, you know, everything gets a little bit more hectic and everything kind of dials up to 11. But we're excited to be here. The website's not on fire, so you know things are going pretty well.
today was certainly busy. Some last final touches or so on those product pages, getting pictures up, making sure the CAD was all nice and polished, ready for your viewing pleasure. Little details here and there, a little bit of last minute filming, just normal product launch day things.
All right, so we're going to go on to our last question. So, Nick, on your monitor, back during the video when you were talking to neighbor Andy, there looked like there was a chassis on there. So we got a question in, was the drivetrain on your computer the kit chassis for next year?
No, actually. We can't tell you about the kit of parts chassis for next year. But I think it's about time to talk about what this is.
Oh, boy.
I think we got a little video.
All right, so thanks everybody for joining us. We are so happy for you to be here with us on product launch night. We're gonna sign off. As always, you can get in touch with us on email and over the phone. We love talking to all of our customers and all the wonderful teams out there.
So I'm just getting word from our web team about that video you saw. That is, we're proud to announce right now, that is our new Raptor Track Drive drive-based module kit. That is an iteration to the Rhino Track Drive we came out with prior to the 2016 season. There's a huge product page about all the little improvements we've made. It does share the same belt. It shares the same tough pulleys that we designed for that drivetrain, but we're also going to come out with a flat black urethane belt. Now this belt here is a belt from the Tread Runner chassis. We did a little bit of secret prototyping there by putting that out in the market, but it's a flat 60A black urethane tread, which is really good for surfaces that are not carpet, such as maybe HDPE or polycarbonate. Think back to maybe like the bridges from 2012 or defenses from 2016.
Almost any game that
Yeah.
Flash throws at us has not just a carpeted surface, but some other surface. If you think of every game, there's other surfaces that go on. So who knows what they're going to throw at us this year.
So you can choose on the website either a left module or a right module or the full drive-based kit that comes with some framing pieces for basically let you build the entire drivetrain. And you can also choose if you like the blue nitrile rough top belt or the flat black urethane belt as well. Hearing that we have some words from behind the scenes here.
The director wants us to go into more of these details next week. We'll have to tune in on Thursday of next week.
Guess we'll have to stop ourselves and make them watch that episode, huh?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to be back on Twitch next Thursday night for another episode of AM and the PM. We'd like to thank everybody for joining us here on Product Launch Night. For myself, for the crew up on stage here, and also for the huge team here at AndyMark, both behind the camera, behind the scenes. This is really a big team effort that makes this whole song and dance work. So from our family to all of yours, we'd like to say thanks for joining us. Good luck this season, and let's go have fun at Destination Deep Space.